You're putting in the hours in the gym, you're eating clean, trying to follow all the rules you see online. But when you look in the mirror, you still see that soft, almost puffy look instead of the hard, dense muscle you've been fighting for. What if I told you it's not about training harder? What if it's about avoiding a few hidden mistakes that are killing your natural potential? As a natural lifter, your body plays a different set of rules than enhanced athletes. Today we are going to break down 5 of those mistakes, fix these, and you finally start building that hard, chiseled look you've been working for. By the way, my name is Boris Kish. I'm a licensed IFBB coach and a professional nutritionist with a background in the super heavyweight division at over 220 pounds on stage, which is over 100 kilograms. I'm 193 centimeters tall, which is 6'4". Welcome to my channel. Now, first of all, I want to explain that I'm not a natural, I'm an enhanced bodybuilder. I started competing when I was a teenager, therefore I've chosen this path. But I have full respect for natural lifters. Of course, I was not born with the needle in my ass, therefore I know both ways, and I'm only working as a coach with natural athletes. And you have full respect from my side, and this is way more hard. And I'm also not giving steroid advices, both of moral and ethical reasons. Now, mistake number 1, copying pro splits without recovery. Now listen, usually I get messages, especially in my comment section, Boris, what do you think about this split? And this is like push-pull legs, then break, then upper lower, then break, then full body, all that mixed together. Now, first of all, I want to tell you, as a bodybuilder, I prefer bro split, but that doesn't mean that you have to do it, this old school split, if you find anything else that works way more better for you. If you found a split that works for you, do it. It's perfectly fine. But you have to understand that something that worked in the Steve Reeves era, if you understand, I mean, I love Steve Reeves, of course, he was the best looking male athlete back then, nobody played Hercules better than him, right? But, that method, full body method, which is okay if you do it, but that was okay in the 1950s, if you understand. Now you have systems that work way, way, way better. I mean, this is like comparing if you, for example, used Windows XP. Was that a great operating system? Yes, it was in the 2000s, But is it good now? No, because now we have operating systems like Windows 11 that is way better and advanced. Do you understand? Again, if you're working, for example, full body and it's giving you results, or push-pull legs or upper lower, it's perfectly fine. But if you have problems that you're not recovering enough, that your testosterone, natural testosterone is dropping, that you feel fucked, that you cannot function properly, that you cannot sleep properly, that you have pain all over your body, this is the reason. Or let's put it in another way. I mean, the mistake is also copying training splits of course, enhanced bodybuilders. You see them training 5-6 times a week, and then you assume that this is what it takes to look like them, right? I mean, for a natural lifter, especially if you're over 40, that's the fastest way to really kill your progress. Without chemical assistance, your body simply cannot recover from that kind of frequency. Of course, I'm not telling you now that you have to jump in on steroids. Of course, I'm completely against that, but you have to understand pushing it hard causes your stress hormone, cortisol, to skyrocket, which leads, as I told you, to poor sleep, constant inflammation, and nagging itches, okay? It's not just your muscles that suffer, your tendons, cartilage, and joints really, are taking a beat. The result isn't a harder, more defined physique as you would like, right? Who wouldn't? You end up looking softer and feeling worn down because your body is in a constant state of breakdown instead of growth. And if you want to level up your training, I've created 3 complete training splits you can get for free. Click the link below, join my coaching newsletter, and I'll send them straight to your email. Mistake number 2, alcohol, the legal progress killer. Now, I want to tell you that I'm not a saint. Of course, when I was younger, I was also drinking. I was never in the state that I was an alcoholic, but yes, of course, I was drunk many times in my life. I even embarrassed myself badly. I want to talk about that. It's very, very embarrassing and frustrating. And of course, I'm not like in the crew that are anti-alcoholicers. Do you understand? But combining bodybuilding, I mean fitness lifestyle and alcohol is a complete no. I mean, it destroys the REM phase of the sleep. You're not able to sleep properly. It increases the estrogen, you know that, the female hormone. You feel puffy on the next day, you feel sluggish, you cannot concentrate, and you're completely fucked up, you know. Alcohol is not good in any amount if you're doing bodybuilding, fitness, lifestyle. It's a narcotic that is approved to be out there. This has to be said bluntly, you know. People want to believe a little is fine, but when it comes to training, alcohol doesn't mix. Do you understand? Not in any fucking quantity. It destroys the key things you need for a hard physique. It lowers the testosterone while jacking up the stress hormone cortisol. As I said, it trains your deep REM sleep, which is the time your body actually does its recovery and muscle building. You understand, in the gym, you're doing these micro muscle tears, muscle damage. When you're at home, when you're eating, sleeping, this is when you're repairing everything, your brain, your body, your muscles. Put alcohol inside yourself, you're completely destroying the progress. When your sleep and hormones are a mess, your recovery grinds to a halt. If you're serious about your physique, cutting out alcohol is a non-negotiable, you know. And let's be honest, my friend, I mean, and who likes a person who is drunk or who drinks non-stop? And I want to tell you, there is a myth, you know, that before the contest you have to drink a little bit and then all the veins are popping out. You know, there is also this story when Kevin Levroni put some vodka in Ronnie's coffee, you know, the night before the contest, and then the Ronnie won. I'm not telling you that this is the truth. Can happen, but it also makes you fucking dehydrated. Do you understand? For example, as a competitive athlete, you can wake up completely flat, without veins, looking like shit, feeling mentally like shit. So it's a double-edged sword. Probably this is how you say it in English, and I would never, ever, ever do that again. With me personally, it had a complete contra effect. And if you found this helpful, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button for more real, no bullshit fitness advice. Mistake number 3, training to absolute failure or not hard enough. Now, again, what I see that a lot of natties are doing is that they think that going to failure is equal to having progress, you know. Now, look, I was explaining this. Going to technical failure is okay. Going to total failure is not okay. I mean, if you're non-stop, you know, going to the failure, you're natty, you're over 35, 40, you're going to look soft. Again, cortisol is going to be skyrocketing. Then again, on the other side, if you think, okay, I'm natural, I'm not on steroids, I don't have to train that much, I don't have to, you know, push myself to the limit, again, you're going to look like shit. So what's the system? The system here is the principle that I was teaching one of my previous episodes. Actually, in the previous episode also I was mentioning that. You will get the link at the end. This is that you do a 10-8-6-6 system, and this way you can go on the last 2, you know, constructive sets all the way to the technical failure, not to the total failure. Total failure is if you're lifting like your life depends on it and you're not, you know, taking care of your form. Technical, that you're doing correctly, and unless you're not able to do one more correct movement, you know. Constantly taking every set to absolute failure, where you can't move the weight another inch, absolutely also fries your central nervous system. Do you understand? Cortisol is up, body is soft. But on the other hand, training too light never creates enough tension to force the muscles, you know, really to grow. The concrete system that works instead of the pyramids or random reps. Structure your main lifts around 10-8-6-6 rep scheme. That key is to aim for, as I said, technical failure. This is the point where your form is about to break down. You understand? Leaving maybe 1 or 2 clean reps in the tank. This method provides enough intensity to trigger growth without killing your central nervous system or raising stress hormones. You get the stimulus you need and you can still recover for your next session. Mistake number 4, not eating enough fat in your diet. The one that I personally completely fucked up. And you have to understand, it's completely no difference if you're enhanced like I'm now or if you're natural, but it's much more important if you're natural. It took me 15 years, my 25 years old of career, to understand how important are the fats. Like even as enhanced, if you don't have enough fats, the libido is not good enough. Honestly, it doesn't work. The muscles are not hard enough. When I pose, when I squeeze the muscles without fat, doesn't matter how many carbs I take, I look like shit. You will as well also. And even if you load as a competitive bodybuilder before the contest, if you don't load with enough amount of fats, you look like garbage because there is absolutely no hardness. I mean, this is where the most natural lifters get it wrong. The problem isn't that you're eating too many carbs. You don't eat carbs almost at all. Now, I'm not telling you don't eat carbs, but just cycle a little bit of good carbs around the training. If you want to look hard and in shape, you want that. For years, we were told fat is the enemy, but for the natural lifter, healthy fats are the key to your entire hormonal function. Do you understand? And achieving that, really hard, dense, grainy look. I mean, also when I was on Trembolone, when I was not eating enough fat, when I was doing these stupid zero carb diets, on Tren I was soft. From my own experience, my physique is always harder and firmer when my little fat intake is sufficient. Fats are essential for producing testosterone. The real enemy isn't dietary cholesterol, it's chronically high insulin. Do you understand? When you're bombing your insulin with sugar, it's too much carbs. This is why you look soft. Fat is essential, carbs are not, which is often a result of overdoing carbohydrates. Fix is to prioritize healthy fats. Don't fear them. Keep your carbohydrates time more around your training sessions, as I explained to you before, to fuel performance. Don't go from one end to another. I didn't say you don't eat carbs, but fats are much more important. The woman cannot get pregnant if she doesn't have enough fats. But don't let them dominate your diet at the expense of the fats your body needs to look and feel solid. Now, I want to hear your opinion in the comment section. What matters most for not looking soft as a natural lifter? Number 5, fearing machines and having free weight only ego. I want to tell you that most of my followers are, these raw old school lifters that are, respecting the old principles of training, and I fully respect them. I'm not going to bullshit you. I also train like that. I prefer fucking free weights instead of the machines. I was taught that, machines are for pussies and for sissies. Subconsciously, I still believe that. Don't want to lie to you, but they're not, okay? They're not the enemy. And of course, you have to combine them. I mean, if you're only doing free weights, you have pain all over your body, cortisol is high, you're not going to recover properly, you're not going to train as much as you can because you think, I don't want to go to the machine. This is not a manly stuff. Again, I understand, I respect, I pretty much function in the same way, but I put brake on my ego and then I do machine, That's called the free weights dogma, the idea that machines are cheating, you understand? Or only for beginners is completely wrong, you understand? And holds back so many naturals from long-term progress. Now, the solution that I personally believe is the hybrid approach, not like this military hybrid system, whatever that's out there. When I say hybrid system, that means, free weights, of course, machines, and combining with HIIT cardio as well would be perfect if you can do some additional sports activity with friends, or of course health and longevity. We don't want only to have big, bulky, useless muscles, even if you're competitive bodybuilders, but I mean, free weights are fantastic, but machines are a strategic tool. They provide stability, which allows you to isolate a muscle and push it to its limit safely, reducing unnecessary systematic stress, okay? This helps you build muscle and strength for the long haul. I mean, think about it this way. I mean, if you constantly have to deload, it means that your system wasn't progressive. Again, I want to say I don't believe in deloads. I never deloaded in my life, not that I'm better than you in any way, but you know, if the training is okay, there is no deload. You won't feel any kind of pain all over your body. If you have to deload every 4 weeks, that means that you were torturing yourself. As one of my first Austrian coaches told me, you're not training bodybuilding, you're training body destruction. Do you understand? Nobody told you that you have to get rid of free weights, but you can go to extreme. Do you understand? The goal is to build a training system that is sustainable for your entire life, not the one that grinds you down and forces you to take breaks. And if you want to learn the best balance, 4 workouts per week with just 2 working sets, click on this video here and I'll see you there.